This week in our collective heads, wanna put an old rumor to bed. Stereotype that you've all heard, how we're all just angry video game nerds. Most of us have actual jobs, kids and families and cats and dogs, yeah. This week in our collective heads, this week in our collective heads.
Welcome to This Week in Our Collective Heads. I'm Patrick, joined by Owen through the power of the internet.
Hi.
Yeah, we love Owen. Glad to have you on here, Owen, as always. And yes, we both have Hylian shields because we love us some Zelda.
Who doesn't love them some Zelda?
Communists. I think that's the rule. That's the way you can figure out if you're with a communist. You ask them what their favorite Legend of Zelda game is, and if they say they don't like Legend of Zelda, communist.
Dude, I can't wait to talk about that one article on a news thing from China. Speaking of communists,
yeah. We'll get there. First up, we have the Games with Gold and PlayStation Plus offerings, and so far, I mean, for the most part, it doesn't look that great. For the most part, we got Cubed 2, which, yeah, we played Cubed before and it wasn't that great. So hopefully Cubed 2 is better. Do you know anything about it?
I mean, no.
Maybe.
But if it was me, just because a cube is three-dimensional, I would have gone cube and then cubed to the third or something like that instead of squared.
Actually have some math in there. Yeah. Just for fun. And we got Never Alone, which is actually fun. I heard it's good. I've heard good things about it. I honestly, I think I picked this up on sale quite a ways back. But now you guys can get it for free. So I heard it's fun. I heard it's a good story, like good storytelling. So it'll be good. Yeah,
it's got a little heartstrings action. It was on PS Plus, I think, a year ago or so.
Gotcha. And then Dragon Age 2. Dragon Age 2 is probably the best choice out of all of these. The best pick.
And what's sad about that is because it's probably the worst Dragon Age.
Yeah, worst Dragon Age, but still not a bad game. No.
Yeah, it was just that difference after Dragon Age 1.
Yeah.
There was a big just gameplay difference between 1 and 2, and it kind of wasn't what you were looking for.
Yeah.
Then Inquisition came and saved it.
And we got Mercenaries Playground of Destruction, which I mean, I'm sure some people are really happy this is on here, but
well, what's funny about the destruction thing is that they're doing this game. What's really funny whenever I saw this little preview that we put up, I think, earlier today, was you look at the graphics on that, and then they have Crackdown 3 coming out next month with the cloud destruction, and so it makes me wonder just if somebody was like, hey, you want to make Crackdown look good because the graphics really don't look that impressive. I'm still going to play it because it's Crackdown, but you want to make Crackdown look good? Let's give everybody Mercenaries in December, and then whenever we get to Crackdown 3, everybody's going to be like, this is the best destruction game looking ever.
Yeah, basically. Crackdown 3, yeah, you're right. Crackdown 3 doesn't look that great in regards to graphics. It's probably going to be really fun, though.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm buying it anyway because it's Crackdown, and I've been waiting for this game for years. It was just funny seeing the Mercenaries preview this morning on the video, and then being like, doesn't Crackdown come out in January? Also, what came out, this week or next week? Just Cause 4? Isn't that another destruction game?
Yeah, it is. Did that come out? I know that, and I think Hitman 2. I think Hitman 2 came out too.
Hitman 2 came out last week.
Yeah, it's already on sale for $30.
Yeah. I'm starting to get a little upset with that, by the way. We should talk about that sometime.
Yeah, the sales, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
So on the PlayStation side of the house, by the way, we got Soma, which it looks like something that I'll like and is unnerving. I'm hoping, I have not honestly looked, but I'm hoping this has some type of VR component.
I do not know if they added. It looks like some people did it on Oculus Rift, but it doesn't look like anybody actually. It didn't look like they made like a VR.
It looks freaky. I mean, I'll probably enjoy it, but this is not gonna be something for everybody. And then we got Onrush, which I don't know anything about. It's racing, and we get a lot of these, so hopefully it's good. I don't know. Steridin, I guess. I don't know. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel at this point.
How does? Oh, that's on PS3, right?
Yeah, PS3, and then Steins Gate. And I'm sure these are for somebody. Iconoclasts.
I've heard of that game at least.
I've heard of that game, but I don't know if it's any good. This game looks, I mean, it looks okay. It's on Vita, cross-buy to PS4, so at least I can play it on my PS4.
It is a 2D platformer with Metroidvania elements. I got a 9 out of 10 on Steam.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's probably going to be decent then. And then this is one that I've actually wanted to play for quite a while. Papers, Please.
My wife loved it.
Yeah.
She said it's very hard and it's very sad. But I think what's funny is they're actually developing like a series or something, or another game. I've recently heard about Papers, Please in some other medium, and I feel like they're doing like a TV show or something based on something weird like that, where it's like, this is what?
Like a Netflix series or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see that. I mean, I've heard a little bit about what it's about, and I mean that makes. I can see maybe as a stretch that they could kind of turn that into something, but at the same time, I don't know how really. I mean, if they made a Battleship movie, I mean, I guess.
I'll totally have to look it up. I just remember the wife sharing something about it, and it could just be that the developer is making another game. Maybe. But I thought I also saw something else that was like, what?
Yeah. So speaking like onto like gaming that we've been doing lately, have you played? I know you completed Red Dead, or I should say you finished the story last night. And takeaways overall, mixed bag.
I mean, honestly, it's a great game.
Yeah.
Like the thing about that I've been struggling with is just, do I think it's a 10? And honestly, or not honestly, obviously, most of the game reviewers disagree with me. I do not think it's a 10 because I think I'm tired of giving Rockstar a pass on janky controls. What it does as far as world immersion and stuff is fantastic. The story is quite emotional. I really did come to like Arthur Morgan quite a bit over like my 70-hour playthrough. It's just sometimes it was a little disjointed, and the controls and how it handles, it's like, yes, all this other stuff is fantastic, but this did take away from my experience at times.
I would agree. They're so pushing towards realism that it's not as fun as it could be. Yeah.
There's sometimes where, and I heard somebody else say this, so I don't want to like completely steal it, but where it's like sometimes you gotta let a game be a game. Like immersion is great, but at the end of the day, like I'm playing a video game and I would like it to all be fun. Mm-hmm. But there's other people that are like totally into it and completely disagree with me, and that is absolutely okay. I still think it is a game of a generation that is worth playing. 10 is a very hard thing for me to be like, this is a 10.
Well, I think when I think of a 10 for video games, and maybe this is just me, I think that a 10 doesn't mean necessarily that it's pristine and perfect. 10 to me is not 100%. But I would agree that we're now in an age where it's more than just the gameplay. There's in regards to a development standpoint, there's gameplay, there is overall branching storylines, not as much in this, but like there's so many aspects to games that is not just gameplay that I feel like some people will weigh those options equal to, if not higher, than the gameplay. Like God of War, I really like the God of War that came out 2016. God of War 2018. It's great. I like the gameplay, but I think that a lot of people, when I hear people talk about it, they're like, oh, the story, oh, the graphics. And I don't hear people talk about the gameplay. And this is game. Yeah. These are games. Zelda Breath of the Wild was one of the best games that I've played in a long time because of the gameplay.
Yeah. I'll say though, and I was actually going to bring up Breath of the Wild, so I'm glad that you did. I wouldn't even say Breath of the Wild's a 10. And it's my favorite game of all time now, because there is some issues with it. Like it is a little empty, and you can tell that they are limited by the fact that the Switch's hardware can only handle so much on-screen activity at a time. But at the same time, the gameplay was perfect, the mechanics worked perfectly. It's still that much higher for me. it's just Kevin even asked how many people I accidentally shot in the face. I actually didn't shoot anybody accidentally, but what did happen all the time is I would run my horse into a tree, or it would run into a rock, or like something where I would just be moseying along, and then all of a sudden I'm knocked off my horse because it decided that it felt like running it. Like, a lot of stuff happened with my horse gameplay, and since you spend a ton of time on there, that's where it got kind of frustrating. Yeah. So the last 10 for me was Last of Us, and that's only because I think it was paced perfectly, and the story and the twist that I still think is awesome that people don't talk about 6 years later or 5 years later, however many years it's been now. But it still had some gameplay issues as well, but they were so minor that's where it's like it didn't take away from my experience when I did Last of Us. And the thing with Zelda, there was times where I'm like, man, this game is so empty, but I don't care because it's Zelda and I'm biased.
No, well, now I'm curious, like, do you have anything you'd consider a 10 then? Or is it like you just haven't hit that perfect game?
Well, like I said, Last of Us, I think.
Last of Us, sorry. Yeah.
That's the last 10 that I can think of playing.
I get what you're saying, yeah. I guess I can see that, because you're saying your personal opinion on Zelda is higher because Zelda's the best thing ever.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing.
Yeah, I can see that, and to me, I get that, and I can see how, like, I appreciate how honest you are, where you're like, hey, it's my favorite game of all time, but it's only a 9, where Last of Us is a 10, and I think that Zelda has so much more replayability. Other than Last of Us. Not to say Last of Us doesn't have replayability, but
yeah. All this said, I still think everybody should play. Like, if you can stomach a 70-hour game, you should play Red Dead.
Have you tried the online? Because I haven't been able to get in.
I only finished the game yesterday. I have the normal edition, and I played it during the right dates, so I should be able to get in. But I literally just finished yesterday, so I wanted to make sure I completed the game before jumping into the online. I'm probably going to wait, though, because I want to jump in with all you guys. I think there was like 4 or 5 of us that were like, let's play it on PlayStation together, and then let's roll. So I'm waiting until all of us are able to access it, and then I'll be down for us to do a posse playthrough.
That's what I was going to ask. You have to complete it to do the online?
No, I don't think so. That was more just you. Okay. I wanted to be.
Because I tried to launch it today. And it said it's in beta, and I was like, "What are you talking about?"
It is.
Okay, so a bunch of people were playing it, and it's in beta, but I couldn't get into it, so I guess you have to wait for it to come out. That's fine.
There was some rules, basically the day one, and we're just going to cut this part out of our news because we're talking about it now. Day one beta was open to the people who brought the Premier Holy Crap Edition, however much that was, $100. Day two, you had to have played it on like the first day of launch. Okay. Like, it registers like your gameplay, like you played it, and then like Kevin's mentioning, the beta is open for everybody tomorrow. So there was some minor stipulations. This is just a stress test. They've made it clear, like, it's not complete or anything like that. This is all server testing. But what's funny is everything that I'm hearing about it is that it's running better than Fallout 76.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You know, I'm going to just jump ahead to this, because apparently Fallout 76 not only is a complete shit show, and you know we try not to cuss that much on the show, but it is. If you could think of a complete fumble when it comes to an online experience, when it comes to a marketing experience, and apparently when it comes to the like the collector's edition experience, like this just gets worse and worse. I'm sure you, if you hadn't heard the latest on this, the collector's edition, which I almost bought. I thought about buying this because I really wanted the power armor helmet.
Sure. And I've still heard the helmet's cool.
Yeah, and if now that I know this, I'm not going to give them any money, and I'm glad I'm not giving them. I'm glad I did not buy Fallout 76, but which, by the way, is on sale for $30 right now. One of the items that, in my opinion, is almost as cool as the power armor helmet. Maybe that's just me being an old man, but the canvas duffel bag, because I'm like, you know what, that's cool, and it's like canvas is like hardy. And that'd be something cool to, like, you know, to actually have a bag and be able to carry it around. But apparently, what you get is essentially like a nylon plasticky bag.
Yeah, they released like an update thing. Basically, the first one was that sorry here, and then they basically mentioned that they ran out of materials. Which
no, so yeah,
you really sold that many to where you run out of materials.
So I heard that, but then I also heard that they also tweeted out to people or told people, well, that was the prototype. Immediately people are flipping out. There was already talk about class action lawsuit, which normally I'd be like, okay, guys, you're really entitled to think that, you have things like No Man's Sky, which I previously thought was the biggest bungle of all time.
Yeah.
Now this is.
I no longer think that.
Yeah, no longer. Yeah, this is worse than No Man's Sky. It's unsettling. And this makes it even worse. And they said, okay, well, give us proof of your purchase that you did buy Fallout 76 Collector's Edition. We'll give you 500, whatever the online currency is.
Atoms or something.
Atoms, yeah, which is $5. Which is nothing. Nothing. Your cosmetic outfits that you get in the game are like $7 or $8.
Yeah, somebody posted what you can buy with 500 atoms or whatever it is, and it was like you can buy a wooden door and like something else. It doesn't. The reason why this is a bigger bungle than No Man's Sky, by the way, like No Man's Sky is still huge and it'll still go down famously, but this is a giant developer. Mm-hmm. This is one of the biggest. This is a titan in the industry, and they're willing to have this happen. Not only is there a possibility of, I would think, of a class action lawsuit, but there are many places, and probably the United States too, but I just know for a fact that they're stronger in other countries. The consumer laws in other countries are huge, and you can go and look at the picture right now, and it still says canvas bag.
Yeah, they're still advertising the canvas. Yeah.
So to me, there's going to be a false advertisement problem. To go along with the fact that they right now, at least the last time I looked, they only have a 30,000 person install base for 76.
That is pathetic for a
crazy
for a AAA online game for Bethesda, which we just got done talking about Rockstar, and there are two companies that no matter the flaws, Rockstar and Bethesda. I put Blizzard in here as well. No matter what the flaws are, you still have a ton of people who are like, you know what, it's okay. I'll still buy it. It'll be good eventually. Bethesda's like the key player of that, where people will buy and go, I want that experience. It might not be good right now, but I love Bethesda, which I'm guilty of that. I didn't buy this. I've bought every Bethesda game. I bought Skyrim, I think, 4 times now. Like, I'm not joking. Like, I love Skyrim. But I didn't touch that. I love Fallout. I love Fallout 4, but I'm glad
The one thing that I will say is that I don't think because obviously there's a whole bunch of things surrounding things. The people who are trying to get the refunds for just the base game, the people who like bought it on digital or whatever, I honestly though don't think that those cases hold any water.
So I will play slight devil's advocate here that Steam does let you do for any Steam games, if you've it's within, I want to say it's within 2 weeks, and you have to play less than 2 hours, which I think that, in my opinion, for online games is nowhere near enough. But I think I don't know if you can. I don't think that it's on Steam, is it?
I don't know who is the
digital distribution. Yeah, I don't remember offhand because I know that Steam's rules are that. But at the same time, I think the developer can overrule those. Either way, I know people have been trying to return this, both digitally and physical copies, and retailers are like, no, I'm not going to take it back.
You can't. And I don't think that anybody has a case there. Just because you didn't like the game, you still bought it. Like, I know that there's situations with buyer's remorse with expensive items, like you can take a phone back, but even whenever you take a phone back to AT&T or whoever, I don't want to speak out of turn, but they a lot of times charge you like a restocking fee of like $20 for their $800 item. Yeah. This is a $60 game. Sorry, that it's what my wife educated me on. It's called a sunk cost. that money's gone. Like, you just need to accept the fact that you bought that game. I know that you're mad at yourself for buying it now, but don't be a baby about that refund.
Yeah.
Those people that have got their nylon bag or whatever, you totally have a case.
Totally have a case. I completely agree. I will say that this does remind me, and this is different than buying it, but when I was in middle school, I went and rented a WCW wrestling game on PlayStation 1. And it was atrocious. So this is like Blockbuster was like 1.5 miles, 2 miles away from my house. I would walk there and rent stuff and then go back home. The same day I went back and I was like, I need to exchange this. This is terrible. The graphics are terrible. And they're like, well, you can't, like, you already rented it. And I convinced them. I was like, 11 years old, 12 years old. And I convinced them, I'm like, it's the same day. You're not really getting any more money from anybody out of this. Like, it's not like I waited until like the last day. And he's like, that makes sense. So they let me go grab something else. But that's a rental. I mean, they didn't lose money. It got back on the shelf. So it was like 3 hours like in total that it was out of the store. But yeah, if you open up a retail packaging and even if it's pristine, that means they have to sell it to somebody. And if I'm going to buy a game and they're like, hey, it's new, but the cellophane's off, I don't know, part of me doesn't feel right about that. So
no, I'm sorry. Like, even if I have no reason to disbelieve you, but at the same time, I have to disbelieve you.
Yeah, exactly.
Disbelieve you?
That doesn't sound right. Something like that. But
whatever.
We got Monster Hunter. Did you play Monster Hunter? I can't remember.
No, I did just buy Monster Hunter Worlds on Black Friday sale, but I have not touched it.
Well, we've got new pictures. But some of these had already come out. I won't go into the details of the.
Dumbest.
What's that?
I looked at the pictures.
There's one picture with Mila Jovovich and Tony Jaa that gets me really excited. Plus, I really like Tony Jaa. Like, I mean, Mila Jovovich is great and everything, but like. What was the movie? Ong Bak. Ong Bak is just freaking amazing, and I'm glad that he's not been in a lot of stuff in the United States, and I'm like, this is perfect for him. So I'm really hoping he gets some good action stunts and stuff in there, because that's his thing.
I think the last American movie he was in, and I could be absolutely wrong, he's probably in more stuff just as a stunt person, but was one of the Fast and Furious movies.
Which one? Wasn't the new one?
Not the most recent one, the one where Paul Walker died in the middle of it.
That wasn't the latest one?
No. The latest one was the first one without him.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Shit, was that no, I had... I can't remember.
So Fast 7, I think.
Okay.
Or however, Tony Jaa was in there as one of the henchmen.
Okay.
The henchman that actually fights Paul Walker, and then you later see him fighting Paul Walker's brother after that happens. So that's why I remember Tony Jaa specifically.
Okay, I did see that one because I went to the theater because it was like, this is like that was the one that was like the send off to him at the end, right?
Yeah. Okay. That was where like even my wife has no interest in Fast and Furious. Like, even she was a little like,
I was emotional about it. Well, I was emotional about it because the scene, like, they did this perfectly, because the scene was a send off to Paul Walker. It was a send off to his character, and what the characters said in the movie, like, also could be said about him. Yeah. And like, I got emotional in the theater. I'm emotional thinking about it like right now. But like, it's like they spent a lot of time together filming all those movies. So.
Been a long time.
I'll be getting me started. Let's talk about Kingdom Hearts and something happy. Oh, jeez.
Something happy about Kingdom Hearts?
Well, Kingdom Hearts is fun.
I have it pre-ordered.
I have it pre-ordered too, of course. Which
Square
I felt
always has.
Yeah, same here. I did find it funny. I mean, I knew this already, but I found it weird when they asked me pre-ordering, like, do you want an Xbox or PlayStation? Because I'm just so used to the PlayStation tie. But of course, I got
Kingdom Hearts.
What?
I said it's Kingdom Hearts. Of course you play it. No, I'm kidding. If you have an Xbox One X,
I'm glad people with Xbox One X's and Xbox One can play it. I'm getting on the PlayStation, so.
Yeah,
that's fun. But the best part about this, I mean, this is, first of all, I think it looks wonderful. I love the inclusion of all the new characters and old characters and everything. But the fact that how do you pronounce his name? Is Xi Jinping from China?
The president.
Yeah. She.
I'll just say the Chinese.
The Chinese president. So
I don't want to be disrespectful.
If you're not familiar with him, people call him Winnie the Pooh because he is robust and he kind of does look like Winnie the Pooh. So now, as you can see if you're watching live, the Kingdom Hearts. This is just the press stuff for Kingdom Hearts in China has been censored to remove Winnie the Pooh out of anything. Is the game even coming out in China? I don't even know.
It is. I mean, it was, or it still is. This is what's interesting about this. This isn't the first game that is having an issue in China. I think one correction had to happen recently with Rainbow Six Siege. I don't remember what it was, but they had to pull something from that because China was like, we're not going to sell your game if you keep this in there. There was another game that they've completely removed from the shelves, and I think it might be Monster Hunter.
It may be. Actually, I remember that. Like, I know that they have very limited control of, like, they limit what is in their country, brought into their country from elsewhere, which is why over the past probably 6-7 years or so, all these Hollywood movies feature more Chinese actors in roles that you wouldn't have already expected. It's not just a social justice kind of thing. It's specifically because the first one that I can remember was in Avengers: Age of Ultron. The Doctor who works on Hawkeye. And then as part of the plot, like, they purposely cast her, and she's like in another like 7 or 8 minutes of footage that was only in China. Yeah. And they did that because they were like, well, if we do this, it's definitely going to get into China, like Chinese theaters. It's a lot of money. So they recently suspended Monster Hunter World sales. Yeah, so this is what happens when you have government officials controlling what you can and cannot enjoy. And one of my coworkers said, do you think Trump's going to ban Cheetos? And of course he's not, but like, it's that equivalent. If you take something to that extreme and you have someone who is that sensitive about being mocked or having like, and now you have someone's sensitivity is basically stopping people from, or could stop people from playing a game or seeing images of Winnie the Pooh, like one of the sweetest little bears ever. So sad. I think one thing that you touched on really briefly is the most important part is that what's crazy, I guess not crazy, but can tell you how much this world is driven by money is the fact that all of these companies will cave because China is such a huge market. That's exactly right. Yeah, they're caving and they're catering. So we're getting, and this is, and there's a lot of reasons for this. But did you know Aquaman came out last week in England? I did not. Yeah, so Aquaman's out. Aquaman came out in Europe. So that's not some critics are already talking about. So a couple of my friends actually saw it today. They work for the press, or one of them works for a theater. I'm going to see it. Is it next Saturday? I'm seeing it early through an Amazon deal. But I'll see it when it comes to HBO. I have heard that it's like the best DC movie since The Dark Knight. So that's not really saying much. Okay. But aside from Wonder Woman, that's Wonder Woman, much. The Dark Knight Rises wasn't that bad. It was other than Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway's great, yeah. Okay, she's good. But Dark Knight Rises, Superman, or sorry, Man of Steel, not Superman. Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Justice League. What else is there? Suicide Squad. That's you're not setting a like. I think I even said it on your wife's Facebook. Like, that's not a really hard bar. It's not. But like, I will say, Man of Steel and The Dark Knight Rises. They may not be amazing, but I thought they were good. I think they were better than Venom, and I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I think there are better films than Venom. So you haven't seen Venom yet. HBO, right? Yep. But I guess we can go from like happy things about like Kingdom Hearts. We'll talk about the last season of Walking Dead, and by that we mean the Telltale Walking Dead. If you guys didn't know, the creator of the Walking Dead franchise swept in to take over because Telltale had shut down all of the funding for the last season's episodes 3 and 4, and the release dates of 3 and 4 have been delayed because of that. But honestly, the fact that they're getting made makes me really happy. Like, just that they're being made, you know?
What's even cooler is that there was the outcries of people whenever this initially happened. Everybody, of course, not everybody, but the internet overwhelming was like, are you going to pay the people who are working on the game?
Yes.
And they reported that, quote unquote, many, because I'm sure there are several of those people who have already moved on to other things, but they said many people who were working on the game they brought in to continue and complete this game. Good job.
Great job. And I will say, not only is it a great PR thing, which they didn't really need,
no,
because. But great thing for Scott, what's his name? Scott Coughlin, not Scott Coughlin, whoever the creator guy for The Walking Dead, the one who swept in and did this. But not only that, it's an actually very, very smart move from a business standpoint, because the amount of money and amount of time to pay someone to come in and then catch up to speed of where that person left off, that's ridiculous. Robert Kirkman. Yeah, I don't know why I was saying that. Robert Kirkman. So I'm glad. Thank you for checking me on that. But like that saved probably a handful of, probably a month or 2 weeks to a month for a competent worker, because you're talking about someone who comes in, has no idea where this person, where whoever they were working with left off, having to get a feel for what they were trying to accomplish. All that's in someone's head, and they're it's hard to just, you don't leave that in notes, especially when you're just fired. Yeah. You don't leave that in notes.
This means a lot to me too, not super personally, but personally, where I love these types of games, as you know.
Oh, I do too.
I'm a big adventure person. Life is Strange is one of my favorite games of all time. Walking Dead Season 1 and 2 are some of the best stories that I've ever had the pleasure of playing through. And waiting for this ending for Clem's story is something that I feel like I've been waiting on for the last 6 years. So I was super, super bummed about Telltale and all those people losing their job, obviously. But the second thought, and it was probably more the first thought, and I'm trying to give myself some credit, but the second thought that I had was, oh no, does that mean we're not going to get the rest of The Walking Dead? Because no! So the fact that we're getting it, I'm so happy. Can't be more pleased. I don't care if it's going to take them a while. Just the fact that they wanted to do it and do Clem's character justice. Good job, Walking Dead creators.
Great job.
Thank you.
Great job, Robert Kirkman. I don't know why I called you Scott Coughlin, because that's completely different. That's the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's. So
that's a big difference.
Very, very big difference. So there's some rumors. So I'll say this is rumors, but for quite a while, there's been a buzz that Rocksteady was coming out with a Superman game. So there's more rumors of that abound. Which
it is rumor week, because next week is Game Awards. Yep. Which hopefully, we haven't completely planned it out yet, but hopefully we will be casting that and commenting on the Game Awards next week.
Yes, I think we should be able to do that, broadcast the whole thing, and do a kind of a wrap up afterwards.
So this weird company that probably nobody's ever heard of basically said that there's a Rocksteady Superman. And what's the title's a well-known title in DC? World's Finest.
That's right.
And the reason why that people are listening is because they had mentioned another game previously, and it happened to be true. And I'm trying to figure out what game that was.
Yeah.
Because this company's done it once before, and they were right, and that's why people are like, oh.
It's not. I mean, a broken clock is right twice a day, right? So,
right.
I mean, if you make enough predictions, it's the whole Nostradamus. Not Nostradamus. You remember with John Edwards, the guy who talked to dead people? Remember that guy on Sci-Fi Channel?
Yeah.
So, if you've seen videos, they'll do they did a video where they're like, okay, here's 2.5 minutes of him talking, and here's how many rights he got and how many wrongs he got. and it was like 3 to 80. Like, yeah, you can keep spouting out stuff. Eventually, you're going to be right. So I don't know how often they make predictions, but seriously.
This has been like everybody kind of thought that this was gonna happen. I think where it's like, okay, Batman's done. What do they move on to? Rocksteady, please do Superman. But I think what's crazy is that everybody wants them to do Superman when Superman is nothing like Batman in terms of combat.
No, you're exactly right. He is nothing like Batman when in terms of combat or storyline. These are two very different characters, which DC does not understand. DC universe, Zack Snyderverse, whatever, doesn't understand. These are two very different characters in regards to motivation and in regards to tone. So
yeah,
I not that I think
saying they can't do it. It's just the only game they've ever made is Batman.
Batman, and it was really good. But yeah, I do agree. Superman would have to be a very different take on this. I did like the Superman Returns game on PlayStation 2. By the way, I don't know if you played that.
I did not.
It was when the Spider-Man like open world games were going on, like GTA. So like, it was an open world game where you like flew around as Superman and you could save citizens, or you could save like falling meteors and different things, or not save the meteors, stop the meteors, blow the meteors up. It was decent. The gameplay was okay, and it was a lot better than a certain game on Nintendo 64 too. So.
That game.
Yeah, I did say I was one of the people who did say I think Rocksteady's working on a Superman game. Yeah, I do agree though. Tonally, it's very different, but at the same time, it may be refreshing for them as developers. So. Yeah,
I'm not saying they can't do it. Obviously, like I think they and I want to correct myself. They did make one other title other than Batman. I don't recall what it is now, but it was before the Arkham series. It's just that whenever you think about what they're known for and what the people said that Insomniac took a little bit of whenever they were making Spider-Man, is that close hand-to-hand jump from enemy to enemy combat. Like, that's not Superman. Superman's the most powerful person on the planet. He just flips people and they go away. How are they going to? It's always been the thing, is how do you make a Superman game interesting?
You have to bring in two things. You have to bring in characters who are just as strong, if not stronger than him, which means he's not fighting humans, or you put him in situations where you have more moral choices, and that
would be,
that's to me that makes the most sense, because you have someone who is ultra powerful, but then if you he could save all these people all at once,
they can't be in two places at once.
He can't be in two places at once. It's the Superman, the Christopher Reeve Superman thing. It's like you can't save them both, and eventually he's like, no, what, I'm going to do it anyways. And that's Superman. That's Superman. Like that's his heart. That's what Superman is. It's not about the physicality, even because when you get to that level of strength and invulnerability, it's more about the morality and the decisions. And I think that's what it would have to be about.
It'd have to be really narrative for me. Narrative heavy on Clark Kent and the struggles that he goes through mentally. Because I think that character is always put on a good front, and there has to be more going on inside there where it could be really interesting.
It could be.
It's we'll see what happens next Thursday. I'll believe it when I see it. But I'll say it wouldn't surprise me for Rocksteady to do another character. I just think Superman's a really hard character to do.
Yeah, I would agree. We did get some more good news though, as we kind of run this roller coaster of good and bad. The Nintendo program is going to be ending, which I'm very happy about. The Nintendo program, if you're not familiar with, if you are a YouTube broadcaster, content creator, whatever you call it, content creator, essentially if you wanted to have any video from Nintendo on your channel and you wanted to monetize the video, you had to be part of their program, in which you would get 15% of whatever they monetized. So
and they enforce the crap out.
Yes, if you watch any of our videos, I actually signed up to be part of the affiliate program and eventually realized it's not worth it at all, because I would have to go in and go into their system and say, hey, it's okay, you can allow this, I want to make money off of it. And I think we got a whopping, in all of our Zelda playthroughs, all of our news that we've ever done talking about Nintendo, I think we've gotten a whole 23 cents off of it, because it's 15% of what the videos would make. So yeah, it's ridiculous, and I'm glad that it's ending. The Nintendo is not ending their copyright strikes though. So if you put up Nintendo footage like we just did, we will not get a copyright strike, but they will come in and monetize the video on behalf of Nintendo. So
yeah,
so they'll make money, a couple cents off of us. What's that?
Enjoy. You're welcome.
Yeah.
To enjoy your.
Yeah, like we're giving you advertisement, and you want more money off of it. It's ridiculous. I've tried to fight every single one of them, like, because you can click a button and say I'm disputing this, and then I put in the actual law in regards to fair use and how we're using it, and the subsection of fair use, like, so that way they can look it up, and they still reject it. And then, but the only problem is the next step would be you have to go to court, and I'm not paying lawyers.
Sure.
Like, not for this. But people should.
Not after they won like a $10 million suit for ROMs.
Yeah, exactly.
That was like last week.
Yeah. I'm not going to fight Nintendo, not on something like that. No. But I will fight against loot boxes. And I'm glad the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, is actually finally kind of looking into this.
I don't know, man.
My problem, I'm guessing that you're going to say, hey, this is your choice. You can buy loot boxes if you want, whatever.
There's a little bit to that, yeah.
But when I play games with my nephew, and
sure.
And like the fact that he doesn't understand that it's gambling, he doesn't understand that, like, oh, I put in $20, but the value that I got out of it's not $20. Like he plays a lot of Fortnite, but he plays a ton of games
sure.
with microtransactions. And I told him Fortnite's not bad because at least you're paying for something you know what you're getting. But he buys loot boxes on stuff all the time, and it's instilling an idea of this is normal, this is okay, and the digital randomness of crap that's not really worth anything. He's okay with. And that's where I have a problem with it. Like, it's gambling being given to kids. And I don't think it's gambling. I don't understand how people can make the case that it's gambling, because with gambling, like, you're doing it for the possible return of valuable items, in my opinion. Like, gambling to me is like poker. Yeah. Gambling to me is like the lottery. Sure, but there's like a slot machine. You have a possibility of getting a payout, a possibility of getting like a rare or an ultra rare thing from your loot box. The only difference is in loot boxes is you always get something, but the problem is that the something that you may get may not be worth near as much as you put in.
But who defines that value?
The players that are buying it, and they're complaining.
I guess. I mean, but that's another thing. It goes back to, I understand that your nephew's not old enough. Don't put your credit card on their account. Like, there's things where I think that there needs to be a level of responsibility. The same thing where I posted an article today on my own page about parents complaining about the addictiveness of Fortnite, and just all the comments where it's like heroin. I can't get my child to stop playing it. I can't get my child to stop buying loot boxes. You know how you get your child to stop buying loot boxes? Take away the game. Yeah. Take away your credit card.
No, I do completely agree.
Some responsibility in there. I think that we want to blame the people who want to make money, and there's some cases where I have to be like, this is America. But they get to do that. If you're going to give them the money, they're going to take it.
And they're going to keep taking it. That's why I vote with my wallet. Where if I see something that's that microtransaction heavy or loot box heavy, I don't buy it. Because if I'm going to purchase a game for $60, I feel like that should be a full experience. Yeah, if you give me DLC that gives me more story, like the Red Dead packs and stuff, like, I got that because I'm like, you know what, that's more content, that's a value. But if I'm buying a $60 game and then there are microtransactions, or I'm prompted for microtransactions often, no, I'm not. I personally am not going to be a part of that. But
the only thing that I think that should be included is some minor things that people have mentioned, where you should know, like, your odds of getting your rare item or something like that. The thing that I fear is that they tell these companies that they can't do it, and then you have then what do you do about a game like Hearthstone? Hearthstone is all loot boxes. It is a loot box based game.
It is I play Hearthstone though, and I play Magic the Gathering Arena, but I don't spend money like ever because I don't have to. It's a free game.
So are most of these games that you're talking about though.
Battlefront 2.
Battlefront 2, I mean, you could pay for it.
You pay for it, and then you pay for loot boxes.
You don't have to.
No, you don't have to. You don't have
it's
to.
It's just like Hearthstone. You can earn the coins to buy your own loot box, or the same system exists in there. You don't ever. I would say the majority of these games, except for mobile games, of course, we know how those go, but where they put you on timers, the possibility is always there for you to play this game for free. It's just whether you want to pay to win it.
And to me, the biggest problem with it is, like I meant, like my and I agree. Like if you're not giving the kid the credit card, that's fine. But I think a lot of games are tailored to say, okay, how do we slow down the player or slow down their progress in order for this to happen? And I agree. Like, yeah, if the game is fun enough, you can keep playing and just earn it. I do that in Magic the Gathering and Hearthstone. I do both of those games, and I earn coin doing that. I don't buy. Every now and then I may buy something, but not very often.
If they abolish, and I don't know what they're going to do as far as looking into it. They said they're going to look into it.
I think it's going to be age restriction.
That's a long string of things. But if there was to be some sort of ban, that will include a game like Hearthstone.
But see, I don't want to ban.
That game will die.
I don't want to ban.
I know.
Like, and that's the thing. Like, I feel the same way about this as I do about when people talk about gun control or anything like that. I'm like, I don't want to ban. Like, I don't want. Like, I want. And I'm not going to get political on that. But when it comes to loot boxes, if you want to talk about loot boxes being political,
I want reasonable.
Like, I want, and with guns as well. But like, to me, if you have a warning on the box for parents, then yes, the parent needs to be knowing that, needs to know this. But two of my coworkers in the past month and a half, like, were like, "Hey, you play video games, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got the video game show." Like, "Oh, okay. My son's playing this, and he keeps wanting this. Like, wants V-Bucks. He wants this. He wants that." And I'm like, "Oh," so I had to explain to them how it works, and both of them had no idea that they were buying digital loot boxes or digital currencies. The parents had no idea of it, and these are parents who are just a little bit older than me. So
it's because they don't play games. The other funny part, and this is more of a side comment to this, is just if we know that I'm having a kid soon, and whenever my kid wants to play some video games, you think we're gonna let them play this like crappy loot box based game?
Mobile games,
might,
no.
But at the same time, it'll just be like, hey, you're tired of being slowed down? Here, let me introduce you to The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, child.
Yeah, here's some real.
You will never be slowed down again, except until you get the peg.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, you have, and to me, you can go the route like Terry Crews. You probably heard of that story, like about Terry Crews and his son playing video games, because his son was getting into games, getting into PCs, and he had no idea like what his son was talking about. And he's like, you know what, I'm gonna lose him, like, you know, my connection to my son and what he likes. So he started building PCs and playing video games with his son. I'm like, that's great. Get into what, you know, you don't have to go to that extreme, but know what your kids are playing. I mean,
I think that I think parents blame these game companies for making money, and these are honestly the same parents, and I'm not going to go like the way that I did on my post, but the same parents that say America's all about the land of the free. That means you're free to not buy it. That means you're free to teach yourself what a loot box is and what that means.
I do agree, and that's why I think that in regards to any laws or regulation, what I think it should be is, like you were talking about, show me the odds, and also have a label where if you look at the ESRB for video games, it's like, oh, it's rated this because it has violence, it has this gore or whatever, and it should be like and loot boxes or, you know, gambling, whatever, something to tell parents, oh, this is in the game, this is a key part of the game, I don't want to show that. I don't want my kid to do this, or I do. Either way, you know, I don't want to get political. I just think that yes, parents need to be more involved, but unfortunately, video games and the TV in general has become the babysitter. And it was for me for a while anyways. But anyways, let us know in the comments what you think about that news, and we'll tell you more about this and other things in future episodes. We're going to talk about in the next episode, or if you're watching live, just keep watching. We're going to talk about the VGAs and the games that we played for 2018. So stick with us.
Thanks for watching This Week in Our Collective Heads. Subscribe over here and click the bell, and that way you'll know about any new videos that we put up, because we put up a lot of gameplay, a lot of stories from games and stuff like that, and gameplay is down here.
Yeah, and you got more editorials and news stuff down here. Check it out.